Hello, this is Joe Gillespie, here to discuss with you the possibility of your getting into the professional broadcasting field. Right at this moment, we don't know whether you can be trained to be a successful professional announcer. Not everyone who wants to become an announcer has the abilities that are required of a professional. However, if you do have the necessary abilities, then Columbia School of Broadcasting can train you to be a professional quality announcer. Let us find out right now whether a career in professional announcing is for you. You must have 3 qualifications to be accepted for Columbia's course in radio announcing. First, you must have a normal speaking voice. You don't need deep, rich, resonant tones to be a successful announcer, but you must have a normal speaking voice. You must not lisp, stutter, or stammer, and your voice must not be excessively high-pitched. Columbia's second qualification is that you must have a high school education, or prove to us that your knowledge is equal to a high school graduate's. Finally, and most important, you must be able to pass the Columbia School of Broadcasting Abilities Test. This test was developed by us in conjunction with our consulting psychologist after testing many successful announcers. The norms for this abilities test, you may be interested to know, were determined after trial testing of students and faculty at one of America's better-known universities. When your abilities test has been graded, Columbia can tell you whether or not you, yourself, can actually be trained to become a successful professional announcer. If you have a normal speaking voice and have enough education, and your test shows that you have the abilities you need, the answer is absolutely yes. We can say with absolute certainty that you will become a trained professional quality announcer with the help of Columbia's unique training, if you will practice at least 6 hours every week. One reason we can make this guarantee is that broadcasting is less formal than ever before. Radio and television stations have discovered that audiences feel more friendly toward announcers who have normal, pleasant voices rather than rich, deep tones. Think about it a moment. Can you name one announcer you have heard recently with a big, round, impressive voice? You can't, can you? The second reason we can guarantee that your training will be successful if you qualify is that we have been successful with every student who practices faithfully. Columbia's course in radio announcing does not simply hand you a vast amount of practice material and leave all the work to you. Our unique training methods take you step by step and guide you all the way from the first basic voice training exercises through the details of every broadcasting technique, all the way toward your first announcing job. Throughout your training, you have private, individual critiques of your progress and personal direction of your efforts. As a result of this individual training and Columbia's unique teaching methods, we have taken hundreds of students who were totally untrained and have strengthened their voices, corrected their pronunciations, taught them every professional broadcasting technique, and led them directly toward their first position. Columbia's methods are so thorough and so effective that the U.S. government has purchased our courses for vocational training programs. Announcers on U.S. Army and Air Force overseas broadcasting stations use our course for on-the-job training. In fact, a number of professional radio stations in the United States are using our course to upgrade the quality of their own announcers. Probably you wonder how a home study course can be so effective that it is used by professional announcers themselves. Let me describe just how Columbia's unique methods work. Then you will see why this method is not a substitute for classroom training. The fact is that this training is much more effective than any classroom training can possibly be. Columbia's course in radio announcing consists of 6 master segments, each of which includes a number of sub-lessons, 49 in all. With each master lesson, you receive a book with background information you will need, a wealth of facts and suggestions to help you in your practice work, and about 45 days' worth of practice scripts and other material. But the heart of each master segment is a full-size, 12-inch, 2-sided long-playing record, not a small one like this introductory recording. Each master recording takes you step by step into the techniques of broadcasting, into professional methods of voice development, and into correcting your pronunciations to match those required by the broadcasting field. On your recordings, you hear exactly how you should sound on your practice, and our recording methods let you practice each exercise immediately after your teacher without stopping. I have mentioned pronunciations many times. Let me give you some examples. I'm going to pronounce 7 common words which are almost always mispronounced, even by most college graduates. They may surprise you. Do you say often or often? Do you say news or news? Sunday or Sunday? Amateur or amateur? Status or status? Economic or economic? Program or program? Now, those are just a handful of the words which are often mispronounced, but which an announcer must pronounce correctly. And by the time you have completed your Columbia training, you will have learned and will unconsciously know the correct pronunciation of nearly every word you will use that is likely to give you trouble. During your practice work, when you feel that you have mastered each sub-lesson as well as you can without additional help, then you record yourself on a tape recorder. It isn't always necessary to buy a tape recorder to record your practice scripts. You can borrow a friend's recorder or simply rent one. Then you send your tape to Columbia School, where the professional instructor assigned to you will listen to you. He then records his detailed analysis of your work on your own tape and sends it back to you. This exchange of tape recordings provides the personal professional guidance that guarantees your constant progress and makes certain that any weaknesses are corrected. We maintain an individual critique file for every student in which we note the difficulties you have on each tape recorded before and instructions and directions your instructor provides. This prevents any student from being lost in the shuffle. Continuing detailed analyses of your progress are always available to us in your critique file. Your teacher on every recorded lesson is a top-notch announcer, one of the finest professionals in the nation. These are all people who had normal voices like yourself a few years ago and who mastered all the techniques of announcing through trial and error and worked their way right to the top. They show you exactly how to avoid all the pitfalls which most announcers have to discover the hard way. They show you how to develop your own style of announcing. Most of all, they show you how to develop your skills in the way that will lead you not just to a professional career, but to a career as a first-ranked successful announcer who may one day make from $20,000 to $30,000 a year. Now, if you will turn this recording over, you will hear about one further advantage of Columbia's training that can mean the difference between success and failure in your studies.